Hi, friends. Thanks for joining me for part 2 of chronic fatigue and how do we get back to feeling good again and healthy energy. It's an advanced show. Part 1 was my last show, so please go back and listen to that, because what I like to do is teach health so you understand the body. It's very scientific. It's like taking a basic biology, anatomy, science course. I loved my schooling. It's just there's a lot of math involved. It's pre-med when you study nutrition, friends. So along the way, I want you to have the concepts, keep building on concepts about health and feeling good again, so it can inspire you to really take a step toward feeling good again, to be healthy, not living with disease. And fatigue is a type of disease. The body doesn't feel good. We were made divinely to feel good and enjoy the experience and the journey, to be able to share joy with other people and show them the way. And so once you know, you can share it with others, and it's a much more fun and happy world. So our first show on fatigue was really covering the mechanics, what the body needs. The body needs, you'll see this on any site you Google, any book you open up, and health and nutrition of the body. It's an art, but it's woven with science, friends. And as we learn new science about the body, then I love teaching it. We haven't been correct on everything about the body in the last century, and definitely not for the last thousands of years. They used to bleed people that would have illness, so there's a point where there's no more blood left, okay, thinking that would get rid of the infection. I mean, the medical doctors at that time didn't realize, but what it does is it helps to stimulate the body to survive, get into that survival mode, so it would make more blood only if there was enough nutrition coming into the body. Unfortunately, doctors of years ago would lose a lot of patients. Hippocrates was one of the most famous doctors, and I talk about it in my big book because it's a nutrition book that also tells about the latest conditions, how disease is on the rise, talks about all the topics that I share with you today, and elaborates from the little book I shared with you last time, The Gift of Nature. The big book can be purchased on Amazon, Kindle. It's not very much at all. And even the book, to really help you understand you and your family and your history, and lots of yummy, delicious recipes, and definitely help you to be your own diagnostic natural physician. Okay, how about that? You might not have to go to your physician so often, because you're going to figure it out that a lot of what you experience has nutritional deficiencies behind it. That's right. And Hippocrates said, food is your medicine and medicine is your food. So in getting into the second show, and I'm aiming for 20 minutes being maximum on any of these shows, friends. Even some of them will be 10 minutes as the first one. Nutrition plays an important role. Environmental factors, toxicity also. And we also have environmental factors that bombard our body, like microorganisms, viruses, bacteria, funguses, yeast. And when they get into the body, they can cause a lot of reactions and lower the immune system to the point of even succumbing and developing disease. In fact, cancer takes 10 to 20 years to develop, sometimes less, when it's really hit hard. And today what's happening, friends, is this is the latest statistics from good, dependable researchers from Tufts University and Harvard will say, just everyone will agree that we have more disease than ever. It's cardiovascular disease has always been horrible, and it's self-induced. Yes, heart disease is self-induced, right? We'll have a show just on cardiovascular disease and stroke, which you have no warning. You have no second chances That's what's so important for you to understand the basics of survival. We are our own worst enemy. Okay? So when getting into what we have in our control, we have to be the pilot of the plane and utilize each of our health practitioners as part of our team. Yes, part of our team. Don't ever just take what a doctor says for the absolute truth. Do some research. Say thank you so much for sharing. Definitely doctors are important, and I want you to be able to get your physical and blood work every year or 2 years or 3 years. If you have not gotten any blood work, and I'm talking to you men and women and children when they have constant issues of not developing properly, having lots of issues, learning slowly, you don't have to take a child in and get them, blood work and such, but they do need nutrition. They're growing exponentially fast and they need extra nutrition. And there's a beautiful children's chapter in the book, Beyond Gluten Intolerance. Woo! Beyond Gluten Intolerance. So you will love it. Lots of shortcuts. I love shortcuts. And if you're talking about a certain addiction like sugar, and I kind of covered that the first time. There's so much addiction. In fact, in my book, there's this healthy focus factors in chapter 6. And it's so important because addictions, they pull the rug right out from under you. Sugar is one of the worst. And again, a little sugar never hurt anybody. But when you just constantly go for sugar to help you mentally feel well, it actually turns on you. It may start to be your best friend, and then it's going to really, truly, friends, weaken your entire body. And I've worked with so many patients over the years as a clinical nutritionist that they've gone to every expert to figure out why they have so much fatigue, and the doctor never asks them about their addiction to sugar or bread or alcohol. Okay, they may get into the area, just say, oh, only 2 drinks a day. Okay, yeah, tell that to an alcoholic, okay? So I tell people I'm an expert on addiction because I've been addicted to everything. But, it's just such a wonderful, happy world. Once you start giving the body nutrition, it doesn't crave these fast carbohydrates that cause the brain to just feel so good, stimulate the endorphin, the pleasure hormones, but you'll still get them from exercise and healthy carbohydrates. Yeah, that's right. So we just want you to understand that you have the controls and you can do it. You actually can. Just decide, commit, and you will succeed. Just give it 45 to 90 days whenever you're embarking on a new pathway, such as eating healthy to feel good again. So advanced fatigue is more than just having an iron deficiency or folic acid or protein deficiency or B12. And that basically covers anemia, which is the number 1 nutritional deficiency of our world, friends, in children and adults. So why are you tired? Hey, you can get some lab work and it'll show you, get a complete SMAC, also get a SED rate on a urinalysis, and have them check your lymphatics too. Because when you get into advanced fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, oftentimes that's why you're staying in such a fatigue, just not motivated, your brain doesn't want to work, you're feeling depressed, you don't like your family, your friends, the world you live in. And unfortunately, some people will, too much suicide going on. So hold off, okay? Hold off. There's so much more happiness ahead, believe me. I mean, it's when you're into loss, when you're into your own depression, and we'll have more education on this, 90% of depression and schizophrenia and all of the different excesses that we can get into, it's blood sugar. So eat every 2 to 3 hours nutritious foods. If you eat sugar, you might feel good right away, but then it will spike and your blood sugar will drop and you'll really feel like jumping off a bridge. It's crazy, seems too simple, but truly, friends, it is the way the body works. So top psychologists have come to conclude that work with orthomolecular support, meaning food and lifestyle, exercise, and looking at the whole person, what you deal with. Some people have physical impairments, and family issues and such. But once you understand and kind of start being able to departmentalize and take care of yourself, love thy neighbor as thyself. But if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. So daily, make sure you're doing the best you can to supply protein, vegetables, and essential fats, and fiber, and water, and all the basics, getting sunshine, or definitely some of the nutrition we'll be talking about. So what happens, we know this, and why don't you know it yet? Because there's been this communication gap between the people, we the people, and the elite professionals, we'll say. The pharmaceutical drug companies are hand in hand with helping the HMOs and the AMA, the American Medical Association, form their rules. But you might be surprised that only about 30% of all the physicians are actually members of the American Medical Association. That's right. They don't want all their rules and support because they want to treat the whole person. And to do that, you have to look at not only what they eat and the environmental factors, which you'll see that on the American Cancer Society. Any good website will always have environmental factors, and that's what the body requires to be healthy children, to have healthy babies, to get pregnant in the first place, to be fertile, okay? And that's what we talk about on these shows, Feeling Good Again, the facts, friends. So when you look at what's ahead when you don't take care of the body, unfortunately it's disease. And I left the first show on fatigue at that point. And we either are going to decide to be proactive and take care of the body, keep it as a priority, economy or not. Most of my life I had to just count my dollars every week, which I still am very conscious about my budget and such. But it's like, I always would make a joke. It's like, thank goodness I can't afford meat because I have to eat so many vegetables, including beans and nuts and seeds, that would complete the protein as a healthy vegetarian. That's the only way I could afford to live. And my children were raised healthy and developed healthy brains and went on to be successful people. And me too, I'm still here. Okay. But we have other factors like toxicity and where we live. There can be a lot of toxicity in just the environment. In fact, I have like a whole chapter on toxicity in the book, and it's not depressing because it's more like taking a survival course. It's like, don't you want to know that in any person that's getting a physical, you can have up to 700 different chemicals in your body, in your tissues, in your brains, and many of them are cancer causing. So that's where we want to understand detoxification, which we'll get into on a later show. So the important thing is to change our paradigm into, our heredity, my parents lived to be 80, 90, or my parents lived to be 30 or 40, and so I'm going to just live it up and who cares? Well, when you start having disease, fatigue, it's not fun because then you don't feel like doing things and you think it's all about you and your brain, and you're not smart enough to be successful, and you don't have the right husband or the right wife or the right job or the right family. But really, friends, if you focus on getting healthier, like that's what I'm talking about here, then you're going to have a more functional body that feels good, even taking a walk. Whether it's raining, friends, I take a walk whether it's raining, snow. I was out in the desert this weekend, and it was just such a delight. And we actually found some sun, so early spring. But again, any time of the year, you're not going to get down. You might feel like, oh God, wouldn't it be nice to have spring and summer and be someplace else? But you can make your environment better. You really have that ability. So statistically, 1 in 2.5 men will have cancer in their lifetime, and 1 in 2.5 to 3 women will have cancer in their lifetime. But what we're seeing, because there's more disease than ever, is younger and younger people developing cancers. And you can have cancers. I mean, I studied this. I worked in cancer for almost, 7+ years. And then I went on to be in AIDS and other, cancers and immunity, like chronic fatigue syndrome, Epstein-Barr, another virus, lots of herpes simplex, which is epidemic in our society. Herpes simplex virus 1 and 2, which is the sexual transmitted herpes simplex. So again, nobody really panics over a cold sore, but a cold sore can really lead into lots of challenges, lots of health issues, as you don't understand it. If you don't take care of it, you're eating a lot of hot and spicy foods, a lot of citrus, a lot of chocolate, unfortunately. All of these foods, and I have a whole list in my big book, and even the little book that I wrote years ago and keep editing it, A Gift of Nature, more on herbs and aloe and nutrition. Same in the big book. It's all about health, gives you the understanding of where we've been in the past, why we have so much digestive issues, but really all the other factors and triggers that go into creating disease in the body. Okay. I keep it simple. I mean, that sounds really complex, but we don't want to have cancer. And many of you listening may have had a type of cancer. I've had skin cancers. My husband had a melanoma removed a couple of years ago. It put us into, it was big enough, deep enough to put it, we live in even more of a health program to be cancer aware. Okay, so far so good. But at the same time, anybody, including myself, I put a lot of demands on myself. I just want to thoroughly enjoy this life I have, and there's stresses that come in life at working and developing different health products, so with companies, as well as just, living. We all have this pressure, economically, politically, fears, and all of those emotions require more nutrition. Yep. For us to go through it, we lose zinc when we are upset. Zinc is important for the immune system. We use more B complex, which is one of my very favorites. I'll show you. I have like a little show and tell, which I like to do on these shows just so it makes it more real. I started with B complex and chamomile. That was my very first herb I fell in love with, and I was still a student, living singularly, single adult. Just trying to find my way in this world, and moved out of the house as a young teenager hippie back in the 70s, 80s, and B complex. Thank goodness I was in a health food store, and nutritional yeast, that's another basic source, which this has some nutritional yeast in it, this B complex. Not always easy to see the labels on this show, but it's the happy vitamin. And you'll hear me talk about it on the shows. So it's like energy. It's like I may take a couple extra ones, and you can just see what your body needs. But definitely, it's see, all the core nutrients are required for life itself. So if you don't have them, you'll die. That's right. So if you want to keep playing Russian roulette, or just, I don't want to, I guess that's kind of like a word that we can use right now, a saying, but if you want to take a chance with not giving yourself these core nutrients, you'll be one of the statistics, friends. So too many people being diagnosed with cancer, skin cancer, as I brought out, it can be in many different shapes, irregular shapes. It can be white, with a little horn on it, real small, little white. Oh, that's one kind of cancer, but definitely dark, irregular skin discoloration of cells need to be on your chart. You need to make a skin chart, and then if you're getting a lot of different moles and freckles and stuff come up, I mean, I'm from a family that my older brother passed with melanoma cancer at 18. He was diagnosed and died at 24 because we didn't understand how much vitamin C helps the immune system. Linus Pauling was talking about it, but vitamin C is just, when you look at the real research, but taking it, you also feel more energy because it helps the body to repair itself. It's like a structural vitamin, and it's a core nutrient. So we die without B complex, we die without C. We also, one cell at a time, as I say, we die without vitamin E. I had talked about it on the first show, how important it is. And many people are very deficient in all these core nutrients because they're not eating the foods. Their lives are just stressful, a lot of stress, even good stress, like having extreme sports and being really active. Like I am a very active person, gardening and hiking, and whenever I'm not at work, like just doing a lot of different projects around my house and such as I can, and family. Love my grandkids, and vitamin E is used up with all the EMFs, electromagnetic fields, okay, plus structural, plus immunity. You can rebuild it in 1 month as you're taking care of the diet, the food. You don't have to be perfect. Believe me, don't start when you think you can be perfect. No, start as soon as you can on some of the core nutrients, but definitely the foods. And I like to give, like food sources on the first show. D3, I know you're wondering when I was going to get to that. You can get it in liquid form. This is a sublingual tablet by another, like company. I can't even read it right now without my cheaters on. That's quite good. And boy, that was like a struggle to finally have the AMA admit that people needed more vitamin D to be healthy, to absorb calcium and magnesium for strong bones, but also immunity, thinking. You need minerals to run all the processes that, not only skin, build healthy skin and repair skin. So, you might hear about something that you're being challenged with, acne, wounds that won't heal, diabetic wounds, but definitely keeping the body as a incredible divine system that has all these different pathways and structures that we need to fuel. Need D3. We don't get enough sun because we're working inside, school inside, being inside. People are gaming too much on their phones and such. So it's real important to get out and get some real healthy rays, but also we've starved our body of fats. Do you see how big these shows can get? It's like, oh my God, she's still talking. But yeah, we're fat starved, healthy fats. So we need the healthy fats, the essential fats. I even brought in one of my favorite brands from Nordic Naturals. Love, love, love the line. It's great. Last time I was showing you my DHA that I liked. It's extra, which has the omega-3s. You can get it in algae. They have an algae source if you really don't want the fish oil. You're going, oh my God, she's saying fish oil. I hate that. But why I love fish oil, friends, is it's absorbed within the day. Within like 12 hours, you're getting, and less, you're actually getting the omega-3s, which are so important to get inflammation down in the body. Yeah, inflammation is behind many, many diseases of today. Even we could say immunity, because irritable bowel syndrome is connected to a weak body structure, which influences the immune system and all the systems of the body. So again, and endocrinologists who work with irritable bowel syndrome, digestive issues, and advanced bowel disease know this, that people who live without any type of healing to go on from drug intervention, just people getting smart about what they're eating, leaving the sugar and milk, and whole grains, we were wrong on that, alone causes more inflammation in the gut. They die early. Okay, so see, you don't know this because it's like the secret up here in the researchers. But the book, you need to get a copy. I mean, this is like cheap compared to any surgery you would ever have to have, a resection in the 22 feet of your colon to take out, a bad part, okay? The body has cells that just give up. They're so scarred from having inflammation that they have to have a resection to put the colon back together. So Also, I think it's chapter 3. It goes through the whole digestive system, and it's easy, quick. I mean, it's like this is years. It took me to learn this stuff in one book. Oh goodness! But the essential fatty acids, friends, are wonderful. They help you to think better, to feel better, and I'm blown away with how important they are. You can get them from raw pumpkin seeds, but digestion, absorption. Just keep that in mind. Chew your food well. No ice cold drink. See, I'm regressing. You gotta watch Fatigue 1 and then the Fatigue 2. And then what? My shortcut, aloe. Why aloe? Because it really has been shown, more and more research. Again, I've been researching aloe for 33 years. I think I should know something in health for 40 some odd years. Too long. Sometimes I just go, don't you know this? It's common sense. No, people do not know. Some people do, but it's only 14% now of our whole population, of almost pushing 400 million people in the United States. Only 14% are metabolically sound. Yeah, that means all the rest of the people are struggling to stay healthy and well and having issues and not having energy. But you can get your common sense back. You need protein, vegetables, and essential fats. But this product, I fell in love with whole leaf aloe juice concentrate 33 years ago, and it was the biggest surprise to me. Aloe Life is my choice because it doesn't cut any corners. It's just absolutely amazing for children and adults to start absorbing the food they're putting in. Okay, it's not easy to absorb fats or proteins. You need enough hydrochloric acid. And I've told you on these shows, as you watch them, you're going to just keep hearing the same. You're going to keep hearing the same wonderful information, and I'm going to get my act together better. But I put a lot of the very, very exciting and fun research into this little trifold, optimizing your health. With aloe and vitamins and food and all this stuff. It's not a cure, friends. We're not talking cures. We're talking giving the body the nutrition and the environmental factors that it needs to thrive and to feel good and for your children to grow and to think and to be productive and fun people to be around. Not having a tantrum every time you turn around or having asthma, or worse, losing your children. Too many children are flooding the children's hospitals now. So anyway, this is great because it tells you the largest study on health showed that lack of hydrochloric acid and the herbal bitters. There's several herbal bitters. Golden seal's an herbal bitter, but you don't want to take that every day. That's more for antimicrobial, for like say bacterial infection. I've used it in the past, but this is a daily. Yeah, just it tells the children's amount. It's less than a tablespoon a day, and for most adults, it's just an ounce a day because it's a concentrate. It's the best in the world. It truly is. Aloe Life tests their products. They make sure it has an immunity factor for body wellness. Yeah, so the plant itself. I mean, people who have grown up with aloe, this is from the Aloe barbadensis or the arborensis. So this is the barbarensis or the arborensis has like a orange blossom. This has a yellow blossom, and it gets leaves to be about 2.5 feet tall. So the arborensis is a smaller aloe, and it doesn't have as much juice. So that's why I love using and harvesting and working with the farmers and such, all certified organic leaves. Okay, so we'll talk more about this in the future, but definitely it's a shortcut along with some key core nutrients. Why? To feel good again. We want to support the body, okay, so it doesn't get into weakened immune system. Okay, when that happens, and I'm very experienced in this field, friends, fatigue. So when you abuse the body with a lot of sugar, it ends up fueling this Candida albicans. Yeah, Candida albicans is a natural occurring fungus in the gut. It's there to break down food and such, but when it overgrows, it can go through the whole body. Yeah, when people pass, that many times with acute disease, it's because their lungs have filled with this Candida albicans, or their whole body is just like in the small intestine where we're supposed to absorb all the nutrients. It's blocked by a mucus like lining. You can kind of visualize. There's a beautiful picture in the book on the villi in the small intestine. So you're supposed to chew your food, it goes down the esophagus into the stomach. You're supposed to have hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and then hydrochloric acid start breaking down the protein to build what? Immunity. So immunity goes after any of these molds, like black mold, that will form after snow and lots of rain, and that really can kill people. It goes into their lungs, and really, if you have a weak immunity, you can't fight this off and expel it out of the body. Okay. Also, you have, the viruses I was talking about that can be very problematic. The herpes simplex, will have a whole show on that, because it seems like no big deal. I'll just put a little aloe or whatnot on your sore, it'll go away. But it actually goes systemic, and that's the issue I wanted to let you know about. So, the triggers are in the book. Some of them you might know, but lysine is really, really helpful. I know doctors talk about taking different compounds, aspirin compounds, to lower the inflammation so you feel better, but it never leaves the body, and that's why you want to build it up with nerve support on the nerves. It lives on the nerves, and so that's why sunshine and like lots of kissing can bring out a cold sore. We don't want to stop kissing, but what we want to do is raise the immunity to guard ourselves against anything that's attacking it. So any fungus, any type of cancer cells, we want to keep feeding the body so it makes good healthy cells that are not easily invaded by cancer, different types of cancers, bacteria infections. We want to make sure that they're actually killed in the stomach, like H. pylori, okay, just one bacteria that can cause ulcers and such and problems. Okay, if you have high hydrochloric acid, which B vitamins, keeping the fungus down, and absorption, you don't have the problem, okay, because of our immunity. We have 6 different levels. We have in our tears, in our saliva, we have immunity. We're supposed to have immunity not only in our GI tract, our small intestine, but also in our blood, little Pac-Man, macrophages that actually go after, microorganisms. So again, we want to build it, okay? We do that through nutrition, and then we want to stimulate it. Exercise stimulates your immune system, and then we don't want to cause the rug syndrome, to weaken it to eating too many bad foods, okay, junk foods that are too much bread, too much sugar, and too much cow's milk. I mean, there's all these alternatives now. Almond milk, which I use, it's great. It's delicious. You can get it unsweetened. I think it's really, really nice. So here I go again, but I want you to know that if you do not heed the message SOS and start taking better care of yourself, you could wind up as so many millions of Americans not feeling good, having to go to their doctor and being scared out of their bejeebies. And I'll just review again, it's skin cancer and lung cancer. That's the number 1, and 2, but they're tied. So that's where you want to be aware. Have a friend check you out, or a family member, so you can make a map of anything irregular. My husband's melanoma that he had taken off really was getting about, I'd say, this big, and he goes, "Honey, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you got to get that checked out." And my dermatologist actually said, "Oh yeah, that has to come out." And we feel that they did a very nice incision and got it out. But again, we're really even kicking it up with more vegetable juices. Carrot juice actually does something with celery juice. Really refreshing. You feel good too. All that good nutrition. A, builds lining cells and helps natural killer cells. Look that one up on the web or in my book. I have these nice little definitions, and then you can go on and do some more of your own research. And I'll tell you, unfortunately, doctors are so busy learning about disease. I mean, there's like now 130 different autoimmune diseases, that affect our skin, affect our immune system, that I write about. I researched them And that's why I'm saying we want to have a balanced immunity. We want to have nice lymphocytes that are T4, T8s that are balanced. And when you focus on the foods that I talk about, you know, having a salad, having soups and stews and stir fries that really you see different ethnic cultures have as mainstays. I mean, who in their right mind would ever say just eat desserts all day long? Nobody. Okay, so we need to get into healthy weights, and that's going to be another show. But again, as you focus on feeling good again and heed the steps that you need to take care of, you will find the body will get healthier and healthier, friends. It's how the body works to be proactive so we don't have to be reactive and to enjoy our life feeling good again. Thanks for joining me. Okay, take care. And hey, you might want to schedule a physical and some blood work. Okay, all righty. Take care. Enjoy.